Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make some super cute clay and wax seal ornaments. So these are perfect for adding to your tree. They could be great for a place setting. My name is Betsy Goodman. I'm a wax seal and lettering artist, and I'm super excited to show you this tutorial today. For this first part, the supplies you're going to need is some air dry clay. I have some parchment paper down. You're going to need a rolling pin, a little template for cutting out the tags. So I did mine about 5.5 by 1 3/4, and then I cut a little notch in it. And then I also just have a sharp knife here that I'm going to use to cut it out when we get to that point. So I have my clay in a ball here, and I'm going to press it down just a little bit, and then I'm going to use parchment paper over the top to roll it out flat. And this is kind of a hard process because the clay is hard, but you'll just slowly roll it out till it gets flat. So once I have it rolled out flat, I can take this parchment paper off, and you can see it's pretty thick, but I've found with the clay, when I get it too small, it's very easy to break once it's dry. So from here, I just want to make sure that I roll it thin enough that I can get my tags in. I'm making 2 of them. Any of this excess clay we can just put back in our bucket. So I'm just going to press that down so it's held in place, and I'm going to use my knife just to get a clean cut. And I'm going to cut all the way around, and don't worry, we're going to clean up the edges as we go. And I'm going to use a straw. This is a smoothie straw to create the hole for the tag. And I'm just going to twist it until it gets all the way to the bottom and pull it out. You can see it just came out nice and clean. I want to do the same thing here. I'm going about 3/8 of an inch down to do this hole. And we'll just pull it out. The last step is we can use a little bit of water in our fingers to kind of reshape anything that we need to. So the general shape is good, but I do want to see if I can smooth out the top so that there's not all the little cracks in it. All right, from here, I'm feeling good about it. This one does have that line in it, but it's a little too deep for me to get out just with water easily. So I'm just gonna leave it for this time. And we'll be covering it up later anyway. So this needs to dry for 2 to 3 days, and then we'll be able to work with it. Our clay has been drying. It's been about 3 days, but it's looking pretty dry. You can tell it changes to a white color instead of a gray, and that's how you know that it's dry. And looking at it, I did roll mine a little too thick. I think more of this thickness would have been better all the way across, but I think it's still going to work and be fine. So I'm using parchment paper underneath, and then I'm going to do a coat of Mod Podge because it feels kind of like gritty, or like it would leave a film on your hand when you touch it. So I just want to cover it in Mod Podge. I'm going to keep it white, but you could do painting here. You could do some decoupage with napkins here. You could do whatever you want on this layer, but for mine, I'm just going to keep it white. So I'm just going to be using a foam brush and getting a little bit of Mod Podge and then just going over the whole thing with a clear coat. The Mod Podge is all dry now, and now it has a really nice soft fill, which is great, because before, when you just leave it as clay, it just kind of feels kind of dusty almost. But the last thing that I want to do here before we start adding on our seals to this name tag is use the Krylon Gold Leafing Pen just to add gold to the edge of this tag. So it's just going to be along the edge only. So it's just kind of a fun look, and also can kind of pretty up the sides. I feel like I didn't cut this side very well compared to the other sides. But I'm just going to go through and do this whole edges on this tag. So now that we're waiting for our tags to dry, we can make our seals. So I've got some of my alphabet letters on an ice pack getting nice and cold. This alphabet set is from my online shop, begoodslettering.com. It's currently out of stock, but it's going to be back in stock the beginning of January. And I've got some crystal clear hot glue warming up on low temperature. And then we just need some paper. So I'm just going with this paper, and you don't need a lot just because the letters are so small. So we'll just pour a small amount of the hot glue onto the paper. And we'll just grab one of our letters that's nice and cold from sitting on the ice pack, and we'll set it in and then press down. And we're just going to do all of these sills. If you have any double letters in the name like I do with this one, then you'll have to re-cool the stamp before you put it in hot glue again. If metal is cold, it won't stick to the hot glue. So we've allowed these to cool for about 30 to 60 seconds or so, and they should just pop off. How cute! They look so fun, and I love having the pretty paper as the background, and I think it's going to look really beautiful on our tags. So we do need one more N, so I'm going to take my N and put it back on the ice pack, but the rest of the letters we're done with, and we can start cutting these out. So when I'm cutting these, I usually just cut them like this first, and then we're just getting as close as we can to the edge of the seal without cutting the hot glue. We'll just work our way around. And then you can just go back and make sure you got all the spots that you wanted to. There's this little area right here where kind of missed a little bit. But then we have our first letter. So I'm going to go through and cut all of these, and then we'll be adding some gold. All right, my last letter is nice and cold now, so I can go ahead and just same process. We'll put a little bit of glue, and we'll press our letter in. I usually just drop it and then press down. Something I love about hot glue seals is that you can see the paper through it, and so you can totally change the look and the feel of these seals just by changing the color and the pattern in your paper. I'm going to be using some of this gold metallic powder. I've been using this lately, and I like it for these seals because they have a pretty shallow impression, so they're quite difficult to get the gold only on the raised part. But when it's kind of a powder like this, it kind of looks like it's meant to be that way versus only having the raised part. So if you get a little bit somewhere else, it just looks pretty and gold in there. And so I like the look of the powder because of that. But I've just dumped a little bit of the powder into the lid, and you can kind of dip an eyeshadow applicator or something similar in there. And then you just go over the letter first. And I'm not trying to get gold onto the background, but sometimes I do. And so I feel like this powder is a little more forgiving and a little more of a subtle look, that it looks like when you mess up, it's not as obvious, I guess. So something like that. I'll just get a little more, and I'm just going to go through and add gold to all of these letters. Okay, so we've got all of our letters done, and you can see that some I was a little bit more messy on and some I was a lot more neat on, but it kind of just looks good. I feel like the powder makes it look more subtle anyway. So I'm gonna leave the edge, the paper. I don't want to color it gold because I just love how the paper is coming through, and it will add some fun color to the tag itself. So let's check on our gold ink and see if it's dry and our tags are ready to work with. So the ink is dry on our tag. It's looking so cute and pretty. And we're gonna do, I also did my son Clayton's name as well. So we're gonna start with that one. And so really, I feel like 4 or 5 letter names are what's gonna work best on the size that I made. So if you have a longer name, you'll wanna do something a little bigger. But this is kind of how it's looking so far. So I'm just gonna use a tiny dot of hot glue. Just put teeny tiny little amount there. And then make sure my letter's the right direction. It's where I want it, and then press it down and hold, and then it should be good. And you can get any of those little hot glue strings pulled away. And we're just gonna go letter by letter. And you could totally do a similar concept without the clay part. I feel like clay is fun because then it feels a little more permanent than paper for making like an ornament or something. But you could totally do this with paper as well, and that would be easier to adjust the size based on the name that you're doing. The last step is just going to be adding some ribbon. So we can just get some, this is just some ribbon that I got on Amazon. It's really cute. It's nice and thin, which is going to make it easy to tie or not. So we can either tie the knot here and have the loose strings if you're doing it more of a place setting. But if it is going to be an ornament, which would be fun to have it be a place setting and double as an ornament, then we'll want to tie it up higher so there's space for it to hang on the tree. So we'll just tie our knot like so, and then the last step is just going to be trimming these. And there you have it. It's super cute and super fun. It's really beautiful, simple at the same time. Here is the final result of these tags. You can see the gold on the side is super cute. I paired them with some cute dried orange ornaments as well, but I think they're going to be so cute as place settings, but also on the tree. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. I hope you feel inspired to incorporate wax seals into your holiday season this year. If you love wax seals and you want to get more into them, definitely check out my subscription box. It's called the Wax Seal Club, and you get a stamp and 3 wax sticks delivered to your door every other month. You can also check out my membership, the Script and Seal Society, where we do a fun wax seal and a lettering project every month. Make sure to follow my channel and follow along for the rest of the 12 days of wax seals as I share fun ways that you can incorporate wax seals into your holiday season.